Was good, was good. Welcome to Area 51 here with Jimmy James saying the truth, everything that's going on in boxing here for you in Golden Era, our channel. We are bilingual, so we speak Spanish and we also speak English at the same time as well. So in my lives, I give a commentary in English and I'm also going to give a commentary in Spanish. The first 30 minutes will be in English and then the next 30 minutes after will be in Spanish. And, you can actually put your comments and I'll either give you the commentary in Spanish or in English, doesn't matter. And, subscribe to our channel if you like real boxing. We are a boxing channel that likes old school boxing. We want the best against the best, the most dangerous fighter against the most dangerous fighter. We don't care if they win or lose. We're not prostitutes. We don't care about how much money they make or any of that bullshit. Okay, we care about the fights being made. That's what we care about. We believe in undisputed champions. We don't care about the A side or the fucking B side. Like if these were record labels, we don't care about that. We old school box. We like old school boxing, and that's what we hope that you like too. If you like our channel, we are pretty raw, and we are partial, obviously with boxing, but we're impartial when it comes down to fighters. We don't care. We're just going to call the shots however they are. So subscribe here to our channel. You're not going to see a more raw channel than Golden Era here. So give us a like here and subscribe. Para todos que estáis aquí, todo el mundo sabéis que en Golden Era somos la más real de boxeo. Danos un like, señor, vuestro amor al boxeo. Los primeros 30 minutos a partir de ahora van a ser en inglés y luego los otros 30 minutos van a ser en español. Y eso va a ser todo para vosotros en nuestro canal de Golden Era. Quiero hacerlo un canal bilingüe para que tengamos a personas de Estados Unidos y también personas que hablan de español, también latinos, que puedan comentar. Y los que podéis hablar dos idiomas, pues mejor para vosotros. So, los primeros 30 minutos va a ser en inglés y los segundos y la parte de atrás va a ser en español. So, suscríbete, danos un like y solo en Golden Era vais a ver este tipo de contenido. Solo lo hacemos aquí. So, doble trabajo, pero es lo que vamos a hacer. All right, so now, as everybody knows or should know, I've never really done a live in English. I have interviewed people who speak English, obviously. Fighters speak English, but I mostly do programs in Spanish. So today I wanted to talk about this situation with Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. I never really been spoken about. I write for Boxing News 24. Sometimes I wrote for different channels as well about my opinion about boxing. I've always liked fighters who risk their undefeated record. I like Bernard Hopkins way more than I would like Floyd Mayweather Jr. And it's just because Bernard Hopkins took challenges that, in my opinion, Floyd Mayweather Jr. never did. Okay, so I'm more of that sort of fan of boxing. I like more the way the UFC does fights with just one belt than having four belts and have people duck each other, which is unfortunately what we're seeing a lot in boxing nowadays. Now, to start with, I've been following the saga of Errol Spence and Terence Crawford for a long time, and I want to be clear about something. I was a fan of Keith Thurman at one time, and I saw what Keith Thurman did to Errol Spence. See, he didn't give him the opportunity to ever fight with him. And it was hard for me to believe that. I was like, Keith Thurman comes here like this guy who's going to liberate boxing from Floyd Mayweather Jr., who obviously was looking for those undefeated records and all that bullshit. And suddenly, here comes Keith Thurman and says he don't care about money. He just wants to fight. And then the next thing, out of the blue sky, is that he became what he said he wasn't. He became what he said he didn't want to be, right? And I was really angry because I was trying to defend Keith Thurman at that point in time to show that he wasn't ducking Spence, but I couldn't defend it. He was ducking Spence. Keith Thurman became a ducker. He never wanted that fight with Errol Spence, and I just couldn't defend him. It was just so obvious what he was doing that I couldn't defend him. So that was the last time I ever trusted any boxer, because to be honest with you, I don't trust any boxer. You see, they don't have a life like we do. They make a lot of money, and once they make the money, they forget about the fans. They don't give a shit about the fans, and all they do is blame the promoters. But the promoters are there to make fights. The fighters don't choose the opponents, the promoters do. But the difference is that the fighters always make the last decision if they want to sign the contract or they don't want to sign the contract. So if a promoter comes and offers them a few fights that he might want, the fighter can always say, no, I don't want these fights. Give me that fight. I want that fight. The promoter has to make the fight happen. One of the reasons why is because the product is the fighter, not the promoter. The promoter can only try to sell a fight, but it's the fighter who has to choose the promoter to start with. So that's why he's a decision maker, and he can choose the promoter. He can choose to sign the contract. He can choose to get that fight because he is the final product. And under the U.S. law, when it comes down to making fights, you can't force any fighter to take a fight he doesn't want. I tell everybody, go call Top Rank, go call PBC, go call any promotional company, and you're going to see that they can never force a fight. They can never force a fight. They can never make somebody sign a contract. If you don't fucking sign that contract, that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. So I want to make that clear because a lot of people bring promoters and managers and all this bullshit, which comes attached with a boxer. But at the end of the day, the one who has the sole responsibility to fight is always going to be the boxer. And that's what you're always going to find in the end. If two fighters want to fight, both are going to tango. That's just what it is. Now, following Crawford through his career, a lot of people, I don't know why, but they hate Terence Crawford. I mean, they say he's never fought a pound-for-pound fighter. Well, that's not true because Victor Postal, back in the day, was a pound-for-pound fighter. Ring Magazine was putting him as a pound-for-pound fighter. And when he beat Victor Postal, a lot of people thought that Victor Postal was going to beat him. You could have just checked the forums back in the day. Okay, I'm pretty sure that you can still find him. It clearly, a lot of people were saying that he would beat Terence Crawford. And when Terence Crawford beat his ass, everything changed. Oh, he's not a good fighter anymore. He's just not a good fighter. So it's the hypocrisy with Terence Crawford is just outstanding. I think the media or something has a problem with Terence Crawford. But let's put it this way. When you're that good of a boxer in today's world, you're going to get avoided. We saw it with Demetrius Andrade. We've seen it with Gary Russell Jr. We've seen it with David Benavidez now. We see it also with Terence Crawford. Nobody in PBC wants to fight Terence Crawford. And don't give me this bullshit about the promotional company because Terence Crawford was with Top Rank. And I remember interviews in 2018, 2019, where Freddie Roach was clearly saying that Terence Crawford was a bad match for Manny Pacquiao. He didn't want that fight for Manny Pacquiao. So he probably told Manny Pacquiao because, a lot of times the trainers, influence the boxer. Say, I train you this certain style, but you probably won't beat this style. So what does the boxer do? They back up from the fight. Because if the trainer believes it's dangerous, then he's basically telling the boxer, right? If you're a trainer and you see there's a guy that's more skilled than your boxer and there's a chance that you might lose bad, you probably are not going to put him with that. So us, the fans, we're going to suffer because we're not going to see we're not going to see the fight, but you're somehow going to liberate that boxer from losing. And unfortunately, styles make fights. That's the reason why boxing is, just like in any other sport, styles make fights, okay? And you're going to lose to a certain style if you fight everybody. You're going to lose. Going to lose. Floyd Mayweather Jr., in his career, he didn't fight certain fighters. That's why he never lost. He didn't fight Paul Williams. He retired when he saw Paul Williams. What a coward. When he saw Keith Thurman, he had him as a mandatory 2 years. Never fought him. He could have fought Paul Spadafora at his time, but he waited till he was literally a drug addict. And then he wanted to, say, come on and get up here and fight me at welter when he was done. But he didn't call him when he was doing well. So the ducking is part of the reason a lot of times why these boxers don't lose. But if the best fight the best, you're going to lose. It's going to happen. because styles make fights. And that's just the truth. You see it in UFC, you see it in different sports, you see it in basketball. Even the best teams in basketball sometimes lose. Does that mean they're not worth anything now? When, let's say, a soccer team like Real Madrid loses against a smaller team that nobody thought was going to beat them, that means Real Madrid is not worth anything. They're not making history anymore. That doesn't make sense. But only in boxing it makes sense because most of the fans are half retarded. That's the problem. Most of the fans are just too sentimental. They have too many emotional problems. And I think they attach those emotional problems with race and all that bullshit, nationality, with boxing, and it just destroys the sport, which is something that's not good. Okay? Take that away. Take the politics away. Just focus on the boxing. Okay? I don't care about if you're black, if you're Latino. I don't care if you're white. I don't give a shit about that. I just care. I want to see the best fights. That's all I want to see as a boxing fan. Okay? That's all I want. Okay? That's all I want. Just like if I like the Phoenix Suns, I don't care who the players are. Okay? I just want to see the best fight. I want to see the Phoenix Suns, battle it out with the Lakers. That's what I care about. I don't care about the rest. Okay? Now, if you care about that, then you should get out of this channel because we're not going to go with that bullshit anyway, okay? And I'm not going to go that way, okay? That's just stupid. Anyway, so, the best thing that I can always do is look at a fighter for what he's done. And I remember Terence Crawford back in the day was being avoided by Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia never wanted, for example, to fight Terence Crawford, so he couldn't get that fight. He could never get that fight because Mikey didn't want to fight him. In fact, Mikey said one time that he didn't like his style because, he runs too much. And that was surprising that Mikey said that because the ones who started that bullshit about running and fighting a certain way were not American people. In fact, they weren't even Mexican people. They're Filipinos. Filipinos started this bullshit. Okay, Filipinos started this bullshit about running because they wanted Mayweather to fight Pacquiao under Pacquiao style, which was basically a swarmer. Yeah, go inside there and just throw punches if you're a real man. That's not how boxing works. Boxing works, you throw the jab, you get out of the way, you hit, but you don't get hit. And then suddenly a lot of the fans nowadays are repeating what a lot of Filipino people were saying back in the day when the Floyd Mayweather Jr. saga and Manny Pacquiao saga happened. And it's sad. It's very sad because nobody said that about Pernell Whitaker. Nobody said that about Pernell Whitaker. But now Crawford is running? I don't like it. He runs. It's just so stupid. It's just so dumb. So when Mikey was fighting Salido, which he was throwing the jab and, getting away, was he running from Salido? Or was he actually boxing? So this is the problem. Like labels like that, right? Labels like that. So either way, Mikey didn't want to fight him. That's just facts. Danny Garcia, when he was in 140, when he knew that Terence Crawford was moving up to 140, he abandoned the belt. He said, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm going to 147. He would rather go to 147 than face Terence Crawford. And when Terence Crawford went there, he actually called Danny Garcia saying he wanted to fight. But Danny Garcia didn't want to fight. How is that Crawford's fault? But, haters are going to always look for a way to hate. And that's just what it is. That's how life is. If you hate somebody, you're going to... See, you can't come to a conclusion logically if you hate. Because you're so full of emotion that all you're doing is you're backspinning your head to prove your point. And that's what it is. It will be like me protecting Keith Thurman after ducking Errol Spence for how many years? How many years now? Like 7, 8 years now? I mean, who knows? I lost count. I can't do that. That's not how it works. So it's really sad that Terence Crawford is being put in a position where they avoided him, and that's why he couldn't get the fights. He would have fought Mikey. He would have fought Danny Garcia. And now Danny Garcia interestingly, is saying that, nope, I can't fight Jaron Ennis because Jaron Ennis is too much for me. It's just too much. So Danny Garcia is telling you why he wouldn't fight Crawford either, especially Crawford in his prime. And this is the problem with boxing. A lot of people just don't want to lose the record. They don't want to. They want to remain undefeated. So when Crawford became undisputed, beat Victor Posta, which during his time he was a pound for pound. You can go check. And unified with Julius Ndongo, which was a dangerous Namibian fighter. Okay. Was he really known? No, he wasn't really known. Okay. But he was there. I mean, he did unify and he got an undisputed champion. He gives some credit. At least let's give the man some credit. Okay. And then he went up to 147. But before he went up, he called everybody to fight against him. Okay. He called everybody to fight against him. And he was with Top Rank. And he was calling Manny Pacquiao because he was in the same stable. Manny Pacquiao didn't want the fight. He never wanted the fight. But Manny Pacquiao now wants to fight Jeff Horn because it's an easier fight. I'm going to give him a chance. Jeff Horn, he thought it was easy. And I told a lot of people, man, Jeff Horn, I don't know. He might be more dangerous than you think. Those Australian fighters historically, Ron Richards, Dave Sands, they had some dangerous fighters. Jeff Fenech, they had good fighters. In the past, actually, Australia used to be a good venue for fighting. Jack Johnson used to go there. Many good fighters of the old school used to go to Australia. So they have some history of boxing. I said, I don't know, Jeff Horn, it could be dangerous. Oh, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Pacquiao's going to smoke him. Yep, and that's what happened. It didn't happen. Jeff Horn beat Manny Pacquiao, and whether you want to call it controversial or no, that's up to you, but he beat him. Manny Pacquiao was going to knock him out. He didn't. So what happened? Terence Crawford said, give me Jeff Horn. I'll fight Jeff Horn. He didn't duck him. Everybody was shocked. Even Errol Spence was shocked. I can't believe Jeff Horn beat Manny Pacquiao. I remember. He had the IBF title. Now he wanted to fight Jeff Horn. But Jeff Horn said, I'm going to give this mandatory to Terence Crawford because he's undisputed and now he became the mandatory against me. Terence Crawford blew him out the water, destroyed Jeff Horn. I mean, it was a beatdown. And that put in check a lot of the haters like Keith Thurman, and I hate to say that because I like Keith Thurman in the past, which they were basically saying, oh, well, you know what? Terence Crawford, he's not in this weight class yet. He when he fights a real welter, you're going to see. Yeah, he did. Beat the shit out of him, and he beat the fighter who actually beat Manny Pacquiao. And now he had the WBO belt. And it's interesting because as soon as he became the champion at the WBO, Errol Spence, see, everything changed. You see, Errol Spence used to call out Keith Thurman the whole time, and Keith Thurman was ducking him. In the end, he did duck him. There's no question about that. He was strong in social media. He was saying runtime Keith Thurman and other funny shit, But then when Terence Crawford becomes the champion, things change. The energy changes. Now it's Terence Crawford calling Keith Thurman, and Errol Spence is saying, there's a new king on the block. It's me. And I want you both. And then suddenly, the energy of Errol Spence transformed. You can just look at his tweets if you look in the past. He's not talking about Terence Crawford anymore. Not like he did with Keith Thurman. And Crawford is having a ball making fun of Keith Thurman and making fun of Errol Spence. And he wanted those fights. He wanted those fights. And a lot of people say, well, it's Bob Arum who didn't want to make the fights. That's not true. That's absolutely false. Every fight makes money when it's a big fight. So there's no purpose, and this is what people don't understand about promotional companies. A promotional company is always trying to make the best fight. It doesn't serve a purpose for Bob Arum to make, you know, uh, Crawford fight Jose Benavidez. He's not going to make money with that fight, idiot. He's going to make money if he fights Keith Thurman or if he fights Errol Spence or Danny Garcia. He was there too. He was a champion at one point. That's how he'd make his money. And how does Al Heyman make money? The same way. You don't want Danny Garcia to fight Ugas because the fight with Terence Crawford is going to make more money. He doesn't want Errol Spence to fight Carlos Ocampo. Emaniantas Estañones. He's not making any money with that. He wants the Errol Spence fight. But in the end of the day, the fighters are the ones, the last ones to sign the contract. And Errol Spence and the rest of the PBC fighters didn't want to lose against Terence Crawford. It's called fear. And there is something called fear. It might not be fear of fighting, but it's fear of losing your undefeated record and no longer becoming that star that you were. You see, because nowadays, if you lose one fight, it's over. Your career is done. You are garbage. You lost, buddy. You ain't shit anymore. You should quit. This is the era that we live in today. And it's terrible because it's just stupid. It's like Joe Maxson beating Sugar Ray Robinson. I beat you. You should have retired. Sugar Ray Robinson still had a life. He still had to fight Gene Fullmer. He had to fight other fighters. It's not the end. You're going to lose. But you have to keep fighting to show your worth because it's the consistency of a fighter what makes him a legend. It's not losing. You're always going to lose. You lose in life too. The fuck you talking about? If you had money, if you made it, whatever you are, or you're a star or whatever, you had to lose many times to be a winner, right? You had to be there. You lost money too. You lost a girlfriend. You lost whatever. That didn't stop you. Oh, you should quit. You're a quitter, You lost. That didn't stop you. You keep going. You got to keep going. And that's how you know if you're worth something or you're not. So, nobody wanted to fight Terence Crawford. There was no energy from any of those fighters. Keith Thurman had the energy to call Floyd Mayweather Jr. He did. Fight me. You're scared of me. Fuck money. That's what he said. But then when Errol Spence came, it was the opposite. Now he's afraid, and Errol Spence is the aggressor. Now Terence Crawford comes to the scene, and now Errol Spence and Keith Thurman now become the pussies. So ironic. Just it's incredible how life is, the hypocrisy of life. And I feel like Terence Crawford was being robbed. But it's not Bob Arum's fault, and it's not Al Heyman's fault either. It's not. It's those PBC fighters didn't want to fight. Because you can't force them to sign a fucking contract. That's the problem. They have to agree with it. Okay, so you want to fight Ugas. You want to fight Lamont Peterson with 37 years old. Carlos Ocampo. You're not making no money. That's not promoter wants money. You tell me you're the promoter. You don't want that fight. You're retarded. You're a bad promoter then. I don't want to be with you. That makes no sense. Everybody comes with this promotional shit because it's a gateway to excuse a fighter from not taking the fight. But the final product is not the promoter. The promoters work for the fighters. The fighters don't work for the promoters. That's not how it works. If they sign a contract with a promotional company, yeah, they might stay there for 5 years. Yeah, they might be out for 5 fights. But it's the fighter who chooses that. Because if not, imagine if that was the case around, a promoter could be like, okay, I want you to fight whoever I want you to fight. Now you're going to fight, somebody who's 2 weight classes above you. That would make sense. I want you to fight Deontay Wilder. You got to fight. That doesn't work that way. In fact, promotional companies, they don't even go to the future and make future contracts. Why? Because sometimes the fighters that they're supposed to fight in the future, if they sign a contract or a waiver to say that you got to fight this guy and this guy and this guy, which you can if the fighter agrees. Once again, the fighter agrees. Let's say one of the fighters who he's going to fight, he loses 2 times. Now he lost value. The promoter doesn't want to fight him. So they don't even do contracts in the future. At max, they do like 2 fights, and the fighter like Canelo has to agree to sign the contract. But it's the fighter who makes these decisions. It's not the promoter, man. Just stop with this bullshit, bro. I'm just so tired. People are just stupid. They just don't listen. They just don't listen. Just call Top Rank, tell PBC, call whoever you want. And you're going to see that I'm telling you the truth. I promise you. They will always tell you, in the end of the day, we choose the fighters, but the final decision of signing is not from us. It's the boxer. And the boxer can always look for a different fight. That's why Jojo Diaz fights everybody. But Ryan Garcia or Gervonta Davis, who for me is, a poodle, like we say here in Golden Era, there's the pit bulls and the poodles. He's a poodle to me. Who's another poodle? This kid. Canelo Alvarez, another poodle. Who's the other poodle? I'll give you another one. Who's this kid? Oscar Valdez at least fought Shakur Stevenson, so he Ray Vargas, another poodle. A lot of poodles. Caleb Plant, they don't want to fight Dave Benavides, another poodle. There's a lot of poodles in the sport who don't want to fight. What's his name? Anthony Joshua he didn't want to be undisputed with Deontay Wilder. He robbed him. Another poodle. So there's a lot of poodles in the sport. But people are not basing it on that. They're just basing their boxing criteria on who's more famous or who's going to make you more money. Like, who cares about that? You're a prostitute or what? Only prostitutes care about your wallet. Since when did that happen? I don't know. I don't want to know what you're doing. I don't know what you sucking on. Not a pussy, that's for sure. So, this whole wreck is just ridiculous. And I try to contact Errol Spence team. I had world champions here. I've done interviews. You can see it in Golden Era. We have it a few months ago. I contact Gary Russell. I contacted different champions just to get their opinions. And I ask straightforward questions. I'm not like the rest of the media. I'm a straightforward guy. Because I want to know what's up. I'm a big fan of boxing. I like boxing. And I couldn't get a hold of really anybody in Errol Spence main camp. And the only people that I got were basically didn't want to talk to me. They can't even confirm if what Crawford was saying was true. But you have to confirm. I can't speak about this. Yeah, we can't speak about this right now. Yeah, you can always contact PBC. Okay. Yeah, you don't want to talk to me. Just speak to my lawyer. Yeah, that's pretty much what they're saying. But, you basically know what's up. That's okay. And I contact Terrence Crawford team, and I get Steven Nelson, who was a gentleman, and broke it down. He's not afraid of speaking the truth. We give this man 35%. Crawford wanted 40. Me personally, I think Crawford deserves 50. 3 championships in 3 different weight classes and undisputed in 140. Errol Spence only has 3 belts in 1 weight class. He's not even jumped 1 weight class. And the fighters he's fought, don't talk about Crawford, because when we look at Spence's resume, you got Mikey Garcia, jumping up 2 divisions. That's going to hunt your ass. Yeah, that's going to hunt your ass if people are looking for flaws. Because now Mikey becomes the hero and you become the poodle. The one that goes up is the one that gets the credit. Always. Oh, he beat Fat Mikey. Or Danny Garcia, who's a 140. Well, Lamont Peters was 37 years old. Lamont is an old warrior. Chris Algeria, 140. Featherhand. Carlos Ocampo. You look at Kell Brook. You move up 2 weight classes to fight Gennady Golovkin, which was insane. Now, that make no sense. And Kell Brook was ducking fighters in his division. He ducked Jesse Vargas. He could have fought with him. He didn't want to. He had to close, and he went for. I forgot what it was. A British guy. I don't remember. But anyway, he went for Gennady Golovkin, and Gennady Golovkin broke his eye socket. Okay, his orbital bone. And then he had to move all the way down and had to make weight with the IBF the day of the fight, which made it even more difficult, all in one shot. So this was not the best version of Kell Brook, okay, if you're at least half smart. But Errol Spence beat him. And I think personally that the best fighter he's fought under the best circumstances is probably Sean Porter. In fact, Sean Porter is probably the most proven fighter he's fought. But other than that, I'm not too convinced about that record. So don't come here to talk about Terence Crawford when, in my opinion, Errol Spence has a lot of flaws with his record too. So it doesn't make sense. But let's forget about that shit because it doesn't make sense. You focus on that, you're missing the point either way. Because you can say Canelo Alvarez has an amazing record. He's incredible. Demetrius Andrade don't got no good record. So Andrade's going to lose. You don't know that. See, you don't know that. Because there was people saying that Vasily Lomachenko was going to beat the shit out of Teofimo Lopez. He has a better record. He's going to show it. He's going to humiliate. Nope. Never happened. The excuses came after. A lot of people were saying, George Kambosos, Teofimo Lopez, no way. He's not winning. Teofimo has fought better opponents. Kambosos won't beat him. Nobody was saying that about Buster Douglas. When he beat Mike Tyson. Shocker. Shit happens. And these fighters need to fight. So will you consider Terence Crawford to be whatever record, or I consider Errol Spence to be whatever record, it doesn't really matter. Because they have to fight each other for undisputed. And to me, watching Errol's career, I mean, does he really make that much money? Yeah, sure. But if he fights Terence Crawford, everybody's going to tune in for that fight. The fact that you've been talking about that fight is the reason why people will tune in. Everybody will tune in for that fight. I know black fans will tune in like crazy. I want to tune into that fight. I know real boxing fans, Latinos, are going to tune to that fight. And they're going to make a lot of money. They're going to make a lot of money. And it doesn't matter if they make the fight in Dallas, Texas, the Cowboy Stadium. It doesn't matter if they make it in Omaha. It doesn't matter if they make it in Las Vegas. It's not going to change the fact that they're both going to make a lot of money. And if you think that fight's not going to make money, you need a head check because you are absolutely stupid. You are retarded. Everybody knows who Terence Crawford is. You can ask people in Mexico who don't speak English. They know who Terence Crawford is. You can ask people in Spain. Oh, yeah, I know who Terence Crawford is. They know who Errol Spence is, too. You can ask people in Canada. Don't know who he is. Now, if you ask who's Virgil Ortiz or Jaron Ennis, well, they don't know who he is. So if you wanted to make a case for that, okay. But we're talking about Terence Crawford, who's being consistently as the top pound-for-pound fighter. And I feel really bad for Crawford because I kind of see the same career with him as I've seen with many black fighters. I feel like a lot of fighters don't want to fight him. And it's not necessarily just all black fighters, but there's a big percentage of them. Then I've seen it also with Artur Beterbiev. For example, the fact that Canelo moves up to weight don't want to fight him, or Dimitri Bivol don't want to fight him. Well, hopefully Dimitri Bivol will unify, but nobody's put pressure to make that fight happen. And it's sad because I know that Artur Beterbiev is going to beat the shit out of him. Or at least that's what I think. That's what I'll bet on. Or Dave Benavidez. Nobody in 168 seems to want to fight him. But people are justifying Canelo, so you don't fight him. He don't make enough money. Get the fuck out of here. He want money. Yeah, you want money too, bitch. So Floyd Mayweather Jr. gave you the opportunity to be the fighter that you are. Because he actually gave you the platform to be, but you can't give that same You can't do the same for a young fighter like Benavidez to fight against him. You got to get and to me, Canelo Alvarez is not undisputed. He's not an undisputed champion because they gave him that belt. Yeah, the Athletic reported it. We had it in goldeneraboxing.com too. It's in Spanish though right now. We'll have it in English. But the Athletic said that he requested that fight. They didn't force that fight. He requested Avdi Yildirim. So if he was a man, he would have fought Dave Benavidez. Oh, you're biased. Yeah, I am biased. Like the WBC, right? When they didn't suspend, Oscar Valdez for taking some, powerful tea. But I'm biased. That's me. I'm the problem. It's not the WBC who could have, not suspended Dave Benavidez, or at least put him as a recess champion, suspend him for 6 months, and then make him fight against Canelo Alvarez. They can make their own rules, right? No, they couldn't do that, right? No, see, yeah. Where is this organization located at? Oh, okay, it's not in the United States. Where is it? Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Now I know who. Now we know who it favors. And that's the sad part. So, when they asked Errol Spence Jr. a few times, like, fighting Crawford, there's this video, and you got to see it if you haven't seen it, but it's online. I mean, you don't have to believe me. Just go and check the video. But Errol Spence is walking around with Ellie Setback, and he's talking about the fight that he just, I forgot which fight it was. They're in the backstage. And then suddenly Crawford pops out far away, and Errol Spence is like, he goes like that. But Crawford actually goes to Errol Spence. And that's a very telling thing, because normally the fighter who wants to fight is the one who approaches. He's not afraid. He came to Errol Spence and started talking. Hey, what's up? When we going to fight? And if that didn't open your eyes, I don't know what opened your eyes, because Keith Thurman never did that to Errol Spence. It was actually Errol Spence that came and tried to approach him a few times. Either way, Bob Arum comes in, and then Crawford just straight tells him, you can look at it. Don't believe me. You can look at the video. It was published in 2019. He says, so when are we going to make the fight happen? And I like Crawford because he's always happy. And Spence is in the future. In the future. Oh, okay. In the future. You see, you start to sound like Ryan Garcia. When Devin Haney came after a Ryan Garcia fight, I think he fought Luke Campbell. I forgot who he fought. But he stood in the stage and called out Ryan Garcia in his face and said, when are we fighting? When are we making this fight happen? And Ryan Garcia, well, I got to fight this guy in the future. Same excuse. And this is normally what happens when you see a poodle fighter. They start to make excuses. It's like Keith Thurman when he was asked about Errol Spence. Yeah, in the future. We're going to make it in the future. The future never came. With Ryan, it never came with Thurman. And it seems like it's not going to come either with Errol Spence. And Bob Arum that time, he said, in order to make the fight happen, a lot of people forget that phrase, the two have to tango. The two fighters have to want to tango. And he said it, that it's the fighters who have to request this fight. Because he's just a promoter. He himself don't make no money. The fighters make the money for him. So they're the final pro. They're the stars. Sadly, in another interview that I saw from Errol Spence, and I think you guys seen it, the ones who've actually researched, the ones who don't research and they just want to hear bullshit, they probably hear the, ESPN and all that garbage, or some YouTube channels who, they're just brainwashing you. But I was surprised because they asked Errol Spence, about what would the price bid be. And he said, well, if Crawford wants to fight, I'm giving him 70-30. 70-30? Whoa. And then he goes and says, but he doesn't take it right now. I'm going to give him 80-20. $80-20. So you don't want the fight. Because you already know. See, when you lowball somebody like that, man, that's like a big fuck you. And we all know that's bullshit. That is bullshit. Okay, I don't give a fuck how you name it. That's bullshit. 80-20, that's not normal language in boxing. And if he really wanted to fight, being the fighter that he's supposed to be, not being afraid of anyone, and we're talking that in a second, he should be making different decisions. But he didn't. 80-20. And people are excusing, well, he was drunk. He didn't know what he was. Well, drunk people say the truth. You can tell that to any Asian. That's actually a proverb of an Asian. Drunk people tell the truth, and that's true. He really felt that way. I already knew. I was kind of confirming what I already thought, but that's okay. When Errol Spence got in the car accident, people forget about this, Crawford actually called him. Look it up. He called him to see how he was doing. And he wished him well. See, Crawford is always the one approaching Errol Spence. And that's why I know he wants to fight. And he told Errol Spence, how you doing? Obviously it's an accident, so you got to give your condolences to that and, make sure that the fighter is good. They're human beings. At the end of the day, they fight. But he said, whenever you recover, we want to make this fight happen. And the 80-20 or whatever came after that, which was sad. But then actually there's one more that I saw of Errol Spence that really shocked me. Was right after the Sean Porter fight and Terence Crawford stopped Sean Porter, I believe in the 11th round. All the people went ape nuts and they went to Errol Spence and said, hey, you know what? I want to, we want to ask you about Terence Crawford because you know what he just did to Sean Porter. Nobody's done that ever before. You didn't do that. It was a close fight. You won, but it was a close fight. But look what little Terence Crawford did to Sean Porter. And when they approached him, he started to walk out the building. Look it up. I'm not joking. I mean, you look it up. And he says, oh, I got to go because we're going to miss our flight. So it stopped an round earlier. And then when they come and get you to ask questions about this fight, which we all want to know, you got to take a flight? But Errol, I thought you were the A side. The guy that makes a lot of money. Please cancel the flight, God forbid, at 12:30 or whatever the time was over there. And please give me one at 1 o'clock. We'll just go to the airport and book the next flight in 30 minutes. God forbid, Errol. Oh, I'm sorry, Errol. Yeah, that's right. You didn't go to the ring when Crawford called you out. You just took off the venue. Why didn't you go to the ring? See, Devin Haney went to the ring against Ryan Garcia, called him out. He have no fear. But you have a flight? You think we're stupid? Oh, yeah, I forgot you're fans. Yeah, never mind. It's always a joke. That was very telling. Because at the end of the day, you got to look at all these clues, man. You got to look at all these clues. 70-30. I'll fight you in the future. 80-20. I got to go. Interesting. And then, obviously, with all that said, there was a rumor that Terence Crawford had offered Errol Spence the 35% that Errol Spence requested. And there was no guarantee for that fight. So what I did, as everybody should do, is try to call both camps. First, I try to call Errol Spence camp. Somebody got on the phone. Call the gym. Hey, do you know, can I get some information on this? No, I can't. Try a different day. Nope. Nobody can call PBC. Okay, call PBC. Interesting. Yeah, that's like a call my lawyer. Fuck you. Not gonna tell you shit. I don't want you to know. Typical poodle. I call Terrence Crawford's team and Steven Nelson. He's the director of B&B Sports Academy, and he's good friends with Crawford, so he was open to me to talk to me. He's a boxer right now. He's a 168. He just recovered from a shoulder injury, and he knows what's going on. And I asked him, is it true the 35% with no guarantees? Yep, that's absolutely true. In fact, we wanted to do 40%, but Errol Spence and his team wanted 35%, and there's no guarantees. How the fuck is Terrence Crawford going to accept that contract? Are you nuts? That's like if I tell you, you know what, you're going to work under me. Yeah, you're going to work under me. It's $15 an hour. But I can't guarantee it. I want to buy your house for $1 million. Here it is. But I can't guarantee it. So now your paycheck comes. Where's my $15? Why are you giving me $6? I couldn't guarantee it. Oh, man, thank you for $1 million. Yeah, no problem. Now, suddenly, I'm giving you $100,000. Sorry, I couldn't guarantee it. You think Crawford's going to take that contract? Are you stupid? Do you take non-guaranteed contracts in your life? Are you that dumb? Are you that stupid? Oh, yeah, I do. That makes no sense, man. That makes no sense. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. On top of that, he had to take the Avenesian fight because he wanted to fight in December. And he tried to contact his mandatory, which is Virgil Ortiz. But Virgil Ortiz didn't want to take the fight, which is kind of telling from Virgil Ortiz. He's his mandatory. And he took Avenesian, was ranked number 6. Now, some people say, he could have taken Jaron Ennis. But frankly, Jaron Ennis didn't sign a contract to Terrence Crawford to make the fight happen. But what he did do is he forced a mandatory against Errol Spence. And then what a coincidence. Suddenly Errol Spence, I don't think I can make weight anymore. I think I got to move up. Yeah, could you make weight against Danny Garcia and Mikey? Yeah, and Ugas. But now you got Jaron Ennis as your mandatory. He's forcing it, and Terrence Crawford wants your fucking head. Now you got to move up because you can't make weight. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. What a coincidence. What a coincidence. Just to think about. And that's what it is. And I think he's ducking, and he's going to duck Jaron Ennis and Terrence Crawford. I think he might move up because he doesn't want to lose against those type of fighters. And they have similar characteristics when it comes down to their fighting style. I mean, they're a little bit different. And I think that's really sad because that's robbing Terrence Crawford from having the opportunity to make history, becoming a 2-weight undisputed champion in 2 different weight classes. That's just sad. That's very sad. You're robbing him, Terrence Crawford, from this opportunity. The man was willing to take 35%. How have you boxing fans become so selfish? Now, if Terrence Crawford was asking for 60-40, okay, I understand. Now we have a problem. But to be honest with you, I believe this should be 50-50. 45-55, I mean, that's okay. 40 is like, okay, that's, you're going way too down on this. But 35 and no guarantees, man, you got to be nuts. That's a different, that's fucked up. Okay, you wouldn't want to have a contract like that yourself. Okay, let's put it that way. If you're smart, of course. If you're dumb, then that's a different story. You don't care. But just very sad, very sad. So I'm going to look at some of the comments now. If anybody has questions in English, and I'm going to continue my question. I'm going to keep going in Spanish for the next viewers, which are in Spanish. So I proved my point. I try to do the best to get in contact with Spence's team, and they never got back at me. Maybe I'm a nobody. Maybe they shouldn't get back at me. But as a boxing fan, I do want to know what's up. And I have to say that Team Crawford has been very open and very vocal. And when Spence says that you don't want to fight, now y'all see you don't want to fight. He's not giving you the details of why not. And he can't not say or confirm. He's not willing to confirm that offer of 35%, and that's key. That is a key problem. Okay? So I don't trust Errol Spence's team. And to me, he never wanted that Crawford fight. He just stuck Crawford, and he just don't want him because he's going to lose that fight. I believe Crawford's going to beat his ass, in my opinion. And I think Jaron Ennis will beat Errol Spence too. Right? So, with that said, let's check here. Let me check here real quick. All right, let's check here real quick. Some of the comments in English, and now we're going Spanish. Man, I have passion for boxing. I wouldn't do this shit in English and Spanish. I didn't have passion, that's for sure. All right. Give me 1 second here. Let's go here real quick. Give me 1 second. And just give us a like, man. Show us love for Golden Era. Show us support for this page. We have a lot of love for fighters here. And, we just want the best to fight the best. All right. So now this is in Spanish. So, todo lo que estaba hablando, para los que no habéis estado aquí, como digo, voy a hacerlo en inglés y lo voy a hacer en español. Pasé un poco, pero tenéis que recordar que me repito mucho más en español que me repito en inglés. Y por cierto, thank you, D. Young. Salute to you, my brother. And thank you for being part of Golden Era. Thank you so much for being part of Golden Era. You'll like this page. We are really boxing fans here. We don't take nationalities. And if you have any questions or anything, you can please ask. I'm here to ask any questions. Okay, so en español, vamos a ver aquí. Dice aquí, buenas Jimmy, dejemos like. Yes, sir. Dice, eres un cabrón, Jimmy, hablando de 2 idiomas, la perfección, de Estados Unidos. Dice Leandro Ávila, buenas noches. Dice Edgar Andrés Quiroga, what's good, saludos Jimmy James, el canal de boxeo con el mejor contenido que no encuentras otro lugar. Saludos desde Ciudad Juárez, Chihuahua, México. Thank you, sir. Dice aquí Rolando Romero, no defiende ni borracho Jimmy Spence, yeah. Jimmy, ¿qué pasó con Canelo? Acá salió por noticias, gastó 5 meses su hija, 15 años, Canelo emborrachó y despidió. I don't know, man, yo no quiero saber de eso. Dice, virus del campo, ok, dice aquí Ellis, I agree with everything you say, Jimmy, thank you. Dice, I confirm that I will contribute to be an Errol Spence. Ok, thank you. ¿Cómo te encuentras, Jimmy? Thank you, me encuentro mejor, poco a poco. Dice Ellis, in history, there have been good boxers from Texas. There have been good boxers from Texas. Let me give you a better list. There was a boxer that I saw that was from Texas in the old school that surprised me. He had a lot of fights, but he didn't really fight anybody. But I'll come with a list one day. One day I'll go state by state. It's going to be a long project, but give me some time for that. Give me some time for that. Dice, they're not undisputed pound for pound, nor are they historical. Yeah, true. The two haters are on. Always look for a way to hate, and that's it. Yeah, it doesn't. Let me see here. On the Romero, just share Jimmy. Su hueso orbital quedó hecho papilla. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Let me see here. Dice. All right. So, ahora que vamos en español, so. A ver, tengo uno más. Orlando Reyes Campo. Y saludos, Jimmy James. ¿Qué tiene que hacer Crawford para ser indiscutido? 146 pies, tiene miedo y no lo enfrenta. No puede hacer nada. He can't do anything. He can't do anything. No hay nada que pueda hacer. No hay nada que pueda hacer. Dice Ellis, why is Errol Spence still above Crawford in the pound for pound? So, está preguntando Ellis, ¿por qué está Errol Spence encima de libra por libra? Well, I think what the problem is that, yes, he's fought with dangerous fighters, but unfortunately, for some reason or another, it's like putting like Naoya Yune. Naoya Yune shouldn't be. He's fought nobody. Errol Spence, if you look at the titles, he's never really done anything to become like Terence Crawford, and he's not being a boy by Crawford. So, to me, Errol Spence, you could possibly put him in a pound for pound list, but it should be very low. It shouldn't be at the same as Stefan Fulton. Stefan Fulton, for the small time he's been in boxing, he's fought everybody. He's never ducked anybody. And Errol Spence is just, you see right now that he's ducking Jaron Ennis, and he's ducking this kid. What's his name? Terence Crawford. So I wouldn't trust the rankings. And just to let you know, normally the rankings, ESPN, Ring Magazine, look at the historical rankings. They're a fucking joke. So, nothing much to say. I don't know. I don't even know why they have him. They probably don't even know why they have him there. Just probably because he's, more famous. That's probably why. Let me see here. It says here, all right, so lo que he dicho es que ¿por qué está rankeado tan alto Errol Spence? Y la razón, en mi opinión, es porque las personas que están escribiendo sobre Errol Spence no saben nada de boxeo histórico, porque no tiene ningún sentido que Errol Spence, estando solo en una división y no sea indisputado, esté rankeado número 3, número 4, en comparación con otros campeones indisputados. That makes no sense. He should not be on top of any undisputed fighter. That's just facts. No debería ser. Dice Antigua, I'm from Monterrey, Mexico. Yes, sir. Dice aquí, all right, so, todo lo que estaba diciendo en español referente a Terence Crawford es la verdad. El chico ha intentado hacer las peleas. Ahora aparentemente Jaron Ennis ha llamado a pelear y ha mandado una eliminatoria contra Errol Spence. Haré un vídeo de eso pronto mañana. Y eso nos debería sorprender a todo el mundo. ¿Por qué? Porque al final del día no está subiendo. Dice Errol Spence que quiere subir ahora, pero ¿por qué? Porque está rodeado por Terence Crawford. La unificación le da una oferta baja, donde no hay garantía de contrato. Y fuera de eso, ahora está Jaron Ennis y quiere tener la mandatoria con Errol Spence. ¿Qué vas a hacer? Tienes que irte, you gotta go. Te tienes que ir. Y Errol Spence y su campamento no han clarificado nada. Seguimos con el mismo proceso, con la misma mierda. Y al final del día, esto lo único que va a hacer es exponer la verdad de Errol Spence, porque al final del día, los caniches son caniches y siempre serán caniches. Porque están adictos a evitar boxeo. You know? Dice Andrés Romero, Jimmy, si me equivoqué en algo de traducción, me dices, ya creo que cuesta más escuchar de cuando leo. Ya, no. No tienes por qué traducir, though, pero te lo agradezco, though. Andrés Romero va a ser una traductora como Google. You know what I'm saying? So, así es como es. Así es como está el boxeo. Y desgraciadamente es lo que pasa. So, si tienes alguna pregunta en español, dice Che Nortido que tiene una pregunta. Dice, te pregunto, Jimmy, un año esperando por esa pelea, ¿no sería por Crawford pidió más dinero? ¿O fue Spence que no quiere pelear con Crawford en 150 libras? Está Thurman para Spence. Che Nortido, creo que llegas un poco tarde porque hice 2 vídeos ayer enseñando las razones por qué, pero resumiéndote, te voy a decir así. Crawford quería 40%, que ya es bajo, porque 50 es lo que debía recibir, 45 mínimo, en mi opinión. Pero 40% es lo que quería Crawford y eso es bajo. Y Errol Spence le dio una bolsa de 35% sin garantía de contrato. ¿Tú aceptarías un contrato sin garantía de pago de 35% cuando ya te han bajado la paga? Es una pregunta, Ellis. O sea, Shane, te estoy preguntando nada más. Ya. Ellis dice, it's like the Time historical analysis said that Pipino Cueva was the best welterweight just because he was Latino. Yeah, that's you go. Or, Arturo Gatti should be in the pound for pound list. What did Arturo Gatti do? I mean, in fact, not the Hall of Fame. What did he do? He died. I mean, sorry for Arturo Gatti. It's horrible, but there were many fighters who did more than he did. And he gets to be in the Hall of Fame? Why? What is his boxing show? I don't care what happened in his personal life. That's sad. Edwin Bolero had a sad life, but what is his boxing show? Can't put him in a Hall of Famer. Just like I said, man, boxing doesn't make any sense. Dice, in the 70s and 80s, what the fuck? It makes no sense. Yeah, I agree. Leonardo Romero, yes, sure, Ellis, absolutely, bro, no true. Yep, absolutamente. So eso es lo que es. It doesn't make any sense. ¿Tenéis alguna pregunta? If you have any other questions, this is the time to ask. El tiempo de preguntar. Dice el virus del chango, el WBC ya colocó a Shakur en su ranking de peso ligero. Ya. Y vamos a ver lo que pasa con Loma. Lo que pasa con el People Cruz. Vamos a ver lo que pasa con muchos boxadores. Ahí vamos a ver si boxadores que están siendo evitados como Mitchell Rivera ahora no están evitando a Shakur Stevenson. We'll see. We want to find out. Vamos a averiguarlo. Se va a poner muy interesante esto. Se va a poner muy interesante. Se va a poner muy interesante. Very interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. ¿Tenéis alguna otra pregunta aquí? If you have any other questions, you can ask. Porque, toda la información que he dado de Terence Crawford, ya la conocéis aquí, pero tenía que poner en inglés. So, si tienes alguna otra pregunta, ese es el momento. Do you have any questions? Dice Juan Landa. La mayoría estoy de acuerdo, pero lo que piensas que de la Joya, él fue el primer fraude del boxeo. Si no, analiza los rivales. Es posible, pero De La Hoya subió contra Hopkins a peso medio. A mí hizo cosas De La Hoya. Venció a Chávez. Chávez estaba fuera de su salida, yo entiendo, pero también hizo peleas muy peligrosas también. Y desgraciadamente De La Hoya perdió, pero también ganó. Perdió contra Felix Trinidad. Tuvo peleas muy buenas, pero también perdió. Pero yo no creo que esquivó a nadie. Yo no puedo decir eso de Oscar De La Hoya. Tú puedes decir que tuvo problemas, pero yo no veo que esquivó a nadie. Yo no puedo hablar así de Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya es mi favorito, pero I can't speak bad about Oscar De La Hoya. No me da, no me estás dando rumbo a. Es como si hablas mal de Barrera o Márquez, que yo sepa, no evitó a nadie. Pero cuando estamos hablando de estos boxeadores hoy en día, como Canelo, tú me das mucho rumbo a hablar de cosas que evitaron. Y yo no tengo problemas. Si todos los boxeadores se van a enfrentar cuando son viejos y jóvenes, eso va a pasar. El problema, es cuando un boxeador está ganando más dinero que otro boxeador haciendo exactamente lo mismo y fuera de esa está evitando boxeadores. Y se le da un precio más grande a ese tipo de boxeador que es más comercial. Eso no tiene ningún sentido. Es como está el boxeo hoy. Porque no quieren perder. Ese es el problema. That's the problem. Dijo que Thor Brank le aconsejó no tomar la pelea, aunque él quiere la decisión, Teofimo, con lo cual no decidió no enfrentarlo porque es un caniche. Ya, absolutamente. Jimmy, acabo de llegar de Israel, ayer sábado, y no vi tus vídeos. Gracias, Jimmy, por informarme. Ya, échale un vistazo, incluso una entrevista con alguien del campamento de de Crawford. Dice Jimmy, tu tocayo David Jimmy dijo que Mamador reconoció que Teofimo López evitó a Sandor Martín. Algo nuevo en el barrio, en Golden Era, something new in the hood. Algo nuevo en el barrio. No en Golden Era. No en Golden Era. No en Golden Era. No en Golden Era. Dice aquí. Mira a estas personas, man, por estos comentarios. Dice aquí. Mira a este chico lo que está dando de Terence Crawford. Sinceramente, el tema de Crawford versus Spence ya da esta flojera. Lo peor es que es el hecho de que no se haga la pelea. Si no, diría que los fans se tiran a muerte unos a otros defendiendo a su boxeador favorito. A él es al que evitan, mientras Tanto Crawford como Spence se la pasan todo burlándose de ello en sus caras, ganando millones. Yo no veo que Crawford se está burlando, yo creo que quiere pelear. Para mí, tanto Spence como Crawford tienen parte de la culpa, ya que ambos nunca quisieron ceder a nada, aun cuando tuvieron así un año negociando libremente la pelea sin ningún obstáculo. Una vez más, este chico está mal informado y está diciendo algo que no tiene sentido. Me acabo de ver esta notificación de la nada. Me parece ridículo el tiempo que estuvieron haciendo güeyes como para defraudar a los fans de esta manera. Los fans de boxeo al final del día son los más perjudicados, pero si se unieran en lugar de tirarse unos a los otros y le dieran la espalda tanto a Spence como a Crawford, así ellos lo acaban de hacer, los obligaría a enfrentarse sin ninguna opción. Pero bueno, esa es mi opinión. Yo quisiera seguir jugando al boxeo, querer llenar la culpa a un solo lado. El problema con este chico es que tiene razón, pero está mal informado. Porque al final del día es uno de los dos que no quiere la pelea. Tú no puedes forzar a otro boxeador a hacer la pelea. Y lo curioso de todo esto es que muchos de estos canales estaban excusando a otros boxeadores para que no se enfrentasen contra otros boxeadores. Y ahora de repente esta situación con Terence Crawford es como que, están evitando y me gustaría que los dos hicieran la pelea, pero nadie puso esa energía. Cuando Demetrius Andrade podía haberse disputado con Canelo Álvarez, right? Nadie puso esa energía. Nadie estaba poniendo esa energía cuando Oscar Val se está enfrentando contra... ¿cómo se llama el chico este? Oscar Val se está enfrentando contra Shakur Stevenson cuando estaban 120. Nadie puso esa energía. Nadie puso esa energía cuando Canelo está evitando a David Benavidez o cuando David Benavidez estaba siendo evitado por... ¿cómo se llama el chico este? Killer Plant. Nadie pone esa energía cuando Dimitri Vivo obviamente no quería unificar contra este chico. ¿Cómo se llama? Arthur Beterbiev. Nadie puso esa energía cuando Anthony Joshua claramente está evitando una pelea con este chico. ¿Cómo se llama? Deontay Wilder. Nadie puso energía. Y ahora de repente la gente se da cuenta de que esto es malo. No tengo mucho que decir, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. Yo no entiendo los fans de boxeo hoy en día. It doesn't make any sense to me. No tiene ningún sentido. Pero no es la misma cosa. Uno está siendo evitado y el otro evita. Eso no es culpa de los dos. Y al final siempre hay un responsable por este tipo de cosas. Siempre hay un responsable por este tipo de cosas. Y en este caso es Errol Spence. Y lo está demostrando. No, yo no juego este juego de ser imparcial. Yo soy imparcial si yo veo que tengo que ser imparcial, pero muchas veces en el boxeo eso es lo que pasa. Dice Rondo Romero, Total Virus. En fact, si queréis ver, y os recomiendo a todos que os suscribáis. Es un canal de boxeo. Me parece interesante porque mucha gente que está en ese canal dicen cosas que expresan la ignorancia de lo que es el boxeo. Se llama Boxeo Carnívoro. Echarle un vistazo. Boxeo carnívoro. Yo me río con lo que ponen ahí. Algunas veces se burlan de mí, está bien, pero nadie me quiere debatir. Pero echarle un vistazo cómo piensa ese programa, porque generalmente ese programa es como piensa mucha gente. Y eso os enseña cómo está el boxeo hoy en día. Os recomiendo que le echéis un vistazo. Dice Ellis, the worst thing, Jimmy, the English who are Crawford haters say he avoided Josh Taylor. What the fuck is this shit, nigga? Ellis, te voy a decir una cosa. I'm going to tell you one thing. When somebody is caught hiding somebody else's lie, they have the chance to either admit that they were wrong or they could keep defending the lie so they don't look bad. But deep inside, they know they're full of shit. Let's put it that way. They know they're full of shit. That's the truth. Y de Juan Landa dice, él evitó a Vargas, nunca quiso hasta que lo noquearon, igual hasta que noquearon y le dio a Vargas. ¿A qué Vargas te estás refiriendo? Rey Vargas, no sé quién estás hablando. Juan Landa, I don't know who you're talking about. Dice aquí, Ander Romero, si te dijera, Jimmy, la cantidad de ignorantes que encuentro en los canales ingleses, le comen los huevetes a Tank. Yeah, you know. A mí no hay mucho que decir. Son boxeadores comerciales. Es como es lo que pasa con el boxeo hoy en día. You know what I'm saying? Somos una minoría, pero somos una minoría fuerte. Y eso al final es lo que cuenta. Eso al final es lo que cuenta. Dice Virus de Chan, justifican lo de Andrade con la pelea contra Sergi Tiesolev. Oh, yeah. Virus tiene razón. No tiene ningún sentido eso. Se enfrenta contra Sergi Kovalev, que está en su salida. Y ok, está bien. Para evitar un campeonato indisputado. O sea, no es simplemente una pelea de unificación, es un campeonato indisputado que haría historia para Canelo Álvarez en México, porque sería el primer boxeador mexicano en ser campeón indisputado en 4 divisiones. Y hacer historia en México por 40 millones, que son 5 más que lo que ofrecieron a Sergi Kovalev. Ok. Si eso tiene sentido. Yo no quiero hacer negocios con esa persona. Vamos a ponerlo así. Let's put it that way. ¿Alguna otra pregunta? Algo más. Another question. Something else. Alright, vamos a ver algo más. ¿Tienes alguna pregunta? Este es el momento de hacerlo. Si no, callar para siempre, porque si no voy a cortar. Fernando Vargas. Oh, Fernando Vargas. Ok. Creo que Fernando Vargas. Es que no sé, es que hay tantos Vargas. Que Jesse, a mí no sé ni qué está hablando. Fernando Vargas. Fernando Vargas es un buen boxeador. A mí me gustaba Fernando Vargas. Es un buen boxeador. Un boxeador muy técnico también en su momento. Deshecho el indisputado real con un rival de élite por ir contra un viejo de asilo que venía deshidratado. Yeah, pretty much. Así es como es. Jimmy, segunda parte de Nelson. Lo contactaré más adelante. Lo voy a contactar más adelante. Pero intentaré conseguir a otra persona fuera de Nelson. Dice, there's no more questions from my part. Ok, so no hay más cuestiones aquí. Alright, so, suscribiros aquí. Danos un like, enseñanos vuestro amor a Goldenera. Somos la página más real cuando hablamos de boxeo, historia, noticias, lo tenemos todo aquí para todos vosotros. Y por cierto, los que no sois fans de boxeo y os gusta el boxeo, aquí vais a aprender mucho. You're gonna learn a lot here. So, suscríbete aquí, subscribe here, danos un like y seguimos con más boxeo para todos vosotros. Mañana tenemos bar de boxeo, so tenemos más para vosotros. Y intentaré hacer esto en inglés y en español, porque necesitamos tener personas en inglés también, porque quiero meter a personas en inglés también para el futuro de la página. So, así es como es. So, pizza para todo el mundo. Seguimos con más boxeo y comunidad goldenera, somos oro, brother. Peace out y jaboné.